Morning, YouTube. It's me. I'm back again. I just want to congratulate the Cleveland Browns. They won their first game after 635 days. They haven't won since last Christmas Eve of 2016. Well, thank you, Cleveland Browns. But I'm not here to talk about the Browns. I just want to thank my team because, as you can see, I'm a Clevelander. Speaking of being a Clevelander, I wanted to talk about prepping in a big city. Not just a city now, there's smaller cities out there. And I want to talk about the bigger cities. And Cleveland, like I said before, is one of the bigger cities. And prepping in the bigger cities is definitely an issue and a problem because of limitation on things you can have. Okay, and one of the things you can have is ammunition. You can't really stockpile a whole ton of ammunition, even though you're going to have a whole ton of problems because of the zombies that's going to be out here in the situation, because we have so many people, there's so much stuff that's going to happen, and that you might be under attack constantly, but then you might not. Unlike if you lived out in a rural area, let's say like I say you out in Garrettsville or something like that, and you got a farm, and you might be under a siege for a long time because there's nobody's out there but you. But see, in the city, there's other people out here. There might be some sheepdogs, but there're going to be a lot of wolves. And if you know what I mean by sheepdogs and wolves, then you know what I'm talking about. Because there won't be any first responders coming after a while. They're going to take off and leave. I don't blame them. I would do the same thing. There won't be any Red Cross. There won't be any volunteers or FEMA, and you'll be on your own. And that's where the city is different than in the country, because like I say, you're going to be on your own from day one out there, because here, they're going to always try to do something for the cities first. They're going to try to evacuate the cities, but we know how I feel about that. Okay, anyway, now prepping in the city is not a hard thing to do. I mean, every time you go to the grocery store, pick up an extra 2 or 3 cans or something, pick up some rice or something, some beans. I mean, maybe some beef jerky, order you some long-term food. I mean, because if you live in the city and you live in a house, you have storage places depending on the size of the house and the number of people that live in there. So you can easily prep in the city if you live in a house. I mean, you might not be able to prep as much as if you had a storage facility or something like that, but you can prep a decent amount. Okay, and the same, like I said, with stockpiling ammo and guns, unless you live in New York and Chicago, which they have a restriction on magazine capacity. I'm a big guy on ammunition for your guns, magazines. I always like to have a bunch of loaded magazines, so I won't have to be trying to reload ammunition in my magazines. So in Chicago and New York and I guess California, you have restrictions on magazine capacity. But anyway, in the city, because you have so many people around you, you're gonna have a whole lot of issues. That being, you're not gonna know who to trust, because every day is gonna be a day that just your survival is gonna be on the line. I mean, even in a blackout situation, I'm not talking short term. I'm talking long term. Short term, yeah, no problem, but long term, when the zombies are really out there, and the wolves are out there, and the gangs are out there, you're gonna have issues. But one thing about being in the city, you have supplies that you can scavenge. I mean, they might be from a neighbor's that evacuated and left, or they might be from a store or mall or something. We have stuff in here in the cities, but all I wanted to say is, because I'm making this video too long, I don't really like to talk really a long time. All I'm saying is that in the city, you have a lot of disadvantages because you have a lot of people. And any time you go somewhere where you have a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of problems. And when you have a lot of problems, you're going to have a lot of danger. Because people can get you in danger. People can get you killed. All right? Because, see, somebody might come to your door. You know, they might look like, let's say, Ryan Reynolds. And people in your group say, oh, he's a nice looking guy. Hey, he can't be a bad guy, little man. And he's Deadpool or something, you know what I mean? Kill everybody in there, you won't even know it. But all I'm saying is, don't be deceived by looks, okay? And if members in your group don't follow your orders, then they got to leave and get another group, because everything you do is for the survival of the group, especially when you're in a major city, because there's going to be influencers out there. People going to have friends that's come by that's going to want to join your group. Do you let them in or don't you let them in? That's going to be up to you. All I'm saying is that when you're in the city, you have a lot of problems, because there's going to be a lot of dangers, but you're going to have a lot of stuff. You're going to have automobiles. You can use their batteries out of there. You can actually use their generators and alternators if you know how to hook them up. But I'm just saying, you're going to still have a lot of issues with the danger of people out there. And not only that, but in most major cities like Cleveland and Detroit, we have a lot of pit bulls. I love dogs. You know, I got a dog. But some of these dogs out there, they've been trained to fight, because we have a problem with fight clubs here. And they will be roaming the streets because their owners are going to leave them. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say, YouTube. Thank you for listening.